Flosstube, Katrina the Crafty Cataloger here. I know it's been a while. I think it's been actually exactly 7 months because according to my notes the last time I recorded was January 31st. So today's probably going to be a hot mess because I'm not as prepared as I should be, but if I'm going to do this I've got to get it done right quick and edited because my youngest son will be home from school at 11 o'clock. So I have my notes from last time here, and I'm just gonna probably run through what I've been working on a little bit. I'm not gonna mess with before and after pictures because it would be really hard to find them at this point. I'll explain more about what's been going on here in mid-Michigan later, but for now, if you're new, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back, especially when I'm so sporadic. Sometimes I actually have thoughts of just not doing this anymore, but then I don't know, I get the bug and I decide to do it. So here I am. Cross stitch. I've been kind of working on a lot of things, so I just brought my whole basket out here. I will start off with some things that I've finished. They're not FFO'd, but they're finished. The first one I believe I was working on, or I at least said I was going to be working on the last time I talked to you. And I did finish Yellow Polka Dot Biquinis. I want to say this is a Plum Street sampler. It is part of the series. I've already done Jeans and Weenies and Halloweenies, both of which were given to my sister-in-law who has a dachshund named Penny. And this one is going to my sister-in-law as well, and quite frankly I'm kind of embarrassed that she doesn't have it already because I finished it in late June. But I really don't like finishing, and so I just keep putting it off. The other thing with this one that's kind of frustrating me is this particular pattern is bigger than the other ones in the series, or at least the other two that I've already done. So I guess I'm just going to finish it, and then what I had originally done, and if I can find a picture, I will insert it of one of the other two. I had finished them and then I had made this wooden plaque thing for her to just magnet them on so she could switch them out throughout the year. And this one's going to be too big for the plaque anyway. So maybe I'll just finish it and then maybe my brother-in-law can figure something out for her. He's handy anyway. Then over the past couple of months I have been working on a series by Ink Circles that just seemed appropriate for my house. The first one was called Here Comes Treble, and it's a treble clef sign. I love this. The second one, these were really nice and quick to stitch up. They're like 4x4 finished, so they did not take long. This one was called First Base. It's a bass clef sign. And the last one that I just finished up this last week is called Alto Together. It's an alto clef sign. And so I am planning on, I originally thought that I wanted to find a frame with 3 openings in it to put those in, but the more I think about it, I think that's probably going to be nigh on to impossible. So I am probably going to buy 3 square frames, maybe 5x5 or 6x6. And the wall over my piano has a couple of family pictures and some other music related things, and quite frankly some of the family photos need to come down because there's a couple family photos where my kids are quite young and like they're 17 and 20 now, so those pictures probably should come down off the wall. We should get new ones taken, I know, but you know, getting them all to agree to stand and smile for 15 minutes sometimes is more trouble than I want to go to. So anyway, I need to redo that wall and I want to put those up there. I have been working all year on Temperature Tree. This is a pattern by Sarah the Stitchin' Mommy, and I don't really want to unroll it, but you can see that I have This up here is last week, so I am all caught up, and I only have one more branch to fill in there, and I will have the base of my tree completely done. But so you can see, it's been kind of warm here in Michigan. I'm a little more than irritated with myself on this project because I don't know what possessed me to pick the color. She provides you with several different color options, and I picked the extreme one, and I don't know why, because we don't ever get to 110 here in Michigan. I should have picked the next one down because I'm not getting to use the burgundies, and I love the burgundies. And now if I stitch another one, I won't be able to actually compare them because they wouldn't be the same. So I'm kind of mad at myself for that. So actually I should have started a little differently now that I think about it. I am still doing Whip Go, and I will put my Whip Go board up here just so you can see. I feel like I'm doing a very good job with Whip Go. Pardon me, I have a paper copy here, so I'm just going to refer to it while I talk about it. Right now, of everything that she's called, I have everything done, and I have a few things done ahead. So as you can see by the board that I will have up here, squares 1, 2, and 7 are done, even though she hasn't called them yet. I believe that, let's see, 16 and 22 were called for September, and I feel confident that I am going to have those done, hopefully by mid-September actually. I am currently working on square 19, which is to do 10 days on Mini Deer Creek, and by the end of this week I should have all 10 of those days done. And then I'm kind of making a push to do square 14, Oh Dear It's Christmas, finish it, which I will show in just a minute where I am with that. And then the reason I'm pushing myself to kind of get all of these other things done is because square 21 is, the goal is to start and finish a page on Mini Village Bookstore. And I do not know what possessed me to make that a goal, because I cannot start and finish a page on a Haid in a month. I know I can't. And I suppose I could say, oh, well, I meant one of the pages along the side that was skinny. But I know very good and well that that's not what I meant when I wrote that goal. So I'm trying to be fair about it, and I really want to do what I know I fully intended in the beginning, which is to start and finish a full page. So I'm trying to get all my other things done so that I can spend the last 3 months doing that, because I probably can do it in 3 months if I really put my mind to it. So as I said, I'm working on Oh Dear It's Christmas. This is a Teresa Kogut design, which are basically full coverage if you've never done one. They're small, but they're full coverage, and it's kind of hard to tell, but I have this whole side over here, like all this right here has to be done. It's all off-white and a couple of different off-white glosses, and then up in here this all has to be filled in, and this banner at the top, and I still have to finish filling in the banner at the bottom. I am making steady progress, but there are just a lot of stitches in there. Can I get it any closer? And then I'll be finishing this one up. I'd like to get this one finished up so that I can have it displayed at Christmas. So what else is in my basket? I did start the Woodland Creatures Mystery Cell that Patty Brake from 4 Boys and a NL Girl is doing. I have the first one completely done. I have the second one started. There's the first little bear. There's the start of the second one. I don't know if I'm gonna continue working on this anytime soon. I should. They really don't take that long. I know this is the first sale she's done, so I think she's working out the kinks, and I'm assuming this is one of the kinks she's working out. When I got the first pattern for the first pattern was the greenery at the bottom of the bear. And then the second pattern was the bear, which of course also had the greenery in it, so you could reference where to put the bear. But when the pattern came for the bear, the greenery, the symbols for the greenery were all different than what was on the first pattern. And I thought that was kind of just a fluke. Like I said, she's working out kinks. Well, then the second pattern came out and I did that. And then I got the fourth pattern, sorry, which is the next animal that goes inside the circle. And again, the greenery symbols are all different than what we got on the first pattern, and that just makes it really difficult to figure out where I'm supposed to be stitching. And I don't know if I have the brain power right now. I realize I should, but I don't know if I really feel like I want to mess with that right now, because I have other things I want to get done. Sorry. I am also more or less still picking away at the 3 little words. Words that Christine at Stitch All the Things has been doing for her Wellness Wednesdays. I have the first one done and the second one started. My needle minder's kind of right in the way of everything, isn't it? And I have the border started, but I've realized that I am going to have to probably rip out the border and start over because I don't have it in the right spot. It's going to be, there's a bigger space on the left than there is on the right. So I just kind of pick away at this one when I have time. I haven't worked on it in a couple of weeks. I would like to get back to it soon, but I have not had a chance. I have been working on Glory of Autumn, which is a dimensions piece. This is what it will look like when it is finished. I really love this picture. I think it's beautiful. I can only work on this for about 500 stitches or so at a time, and then I start to get a little tired of it. Honestly, it makes my hand hurt sometimes because it's just a lot of floss being shoved through. You can see I have the barns almost completely done, and I have these trees over here very close to done, so I have to finish this section here, and then there's a whole other section down here with the fence and the river coming through. So I'm hoping that will probably go on my whip go board for next year, because I would really like to finish it up next year and have it hanging in my camper. I also finally started the Christmas Sentiments, which was also Christine Stitch All the Things sale that she's long done with. I love this piece. I think it's very pretty. And I did finally start it. Oops. And I think that this one overall, if I can get myself time to work on it, I think it will stitch up pretty quick, because that really didn't take me that long. So, I mean, I have one tree out of the whole thing done. So, I have worked on that some. One of the things that was on my whip go board was to start this Mill Hill Buttons and Beads Joy of Christmas. Let's see if I can get that to show without, not really, oh wait, it's open. I can slide that out of there. It's still going to be glary because it's shiny paper, but it's just Christmas stuff. And I did do what was required for my whip go board. Am I showing you the right size of that? Yeah, I am. I have not done any beading yet, just the stitching on those 2 squares. I have it in this frame, which makes it marginally better to work on, but I really don't like doing perforated paper. What else? I don't think I worked on that one. I have put in quite a bit of time on Mini Village Bookstore. And I'm quite pleased with how this one is looking. You can see that I am down here and I'm getting down into this part of the house. I just love this. So this is the one that I said, I don't know why I made this goal. So when I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess when I get to the point where I need to be working on that goal for sure, I guess I'll come down here. I would love to have finished this over here so that when I roll it up, I don't have to go back. But I'm not sure if that's gonna be possible. So when the time comes, if I need to go ahead and get started on that goal, I will probably roll things up and come down here and work in this area. And you probably can't tell, but there are a few stitches. There may be 10 or 15 stitches there. And I will make sure to count those and make notes so that when I'm stitching, I can do 10 or 15 either across, over into the next page, or down, so that I can, again, I understand it's my board, my rules, but I want to be fair to the idea of what I was supposed to be completing. I've been working on Mini Deer Creek also. This one, like I said, is the goal I'm currently working on. I am very close to another page finish here. Sorry. Right in here. I'm pretty close to a page finish there, and I've moved down some. This is, I love this too. And I really, every time I look at it and I see those deer antlers, it's just like, wow. So cool. And it really is amazing how when you're working on this, it's like, oh, it's pretty, but it's just a bunch of blobs. And then you step away and you look at it and it's like this crisp, clear picture. It's just, it's beautiful. This is intended to be a gift for my father-in-law. So I really should make sure that I finish it up sooner rather than later. As I said, I have a couple of goals on my Whipco board that I do need to finish up real quick so that I can get to that last goal. This one is one of them, to do this Lizzie Kate Dear Santa We've Got Cookies, which is bad grammar, but you know, it's still cute. And I don't anticipate that will take very long to stitch up. In fact, that may end up being a camping trip stitch because it will be small and easy to take. I have plenty of room in the RV, so I can take my Hades if I want to, especially if it's just my husband and I. But, you know, if we're just going for a weekend, it's just as nice to take a smaller project that doesn't take a lot of space and time packing. Another project that I did, and I will insert a picture of the finished object here. I did do this one, which is called Happy Camper by Imaginating. It's designed by Diane Arthurs. It says home is where you park it. And as I said, I did do one of these, and I will put a picture of the finished here. And I fully intend to do another one. The first one I did, I gave to my sister-in-law for their camper. And the second one is going to be for me, for our camper. So I have a lot going on, but then most of us do. So I guess it's okay, I'm in good company, right? So let's move on to quilting. The only thing I have to say in quilting is that I did finally get that cubbyhole quilt finished. I think I have a picture of it. I didn't pull it out. I guess I should qualify finished. I have the top all pieced, and I have the back I have the fabric for the back purchased, but I still need to put the two pieces together to make it big enough to be the back. I will put a picture of the pieced top here. I don't know when I'm going to take it to have it quilted. Whenever I feel like I have some extra money, maybe. But anyway, that's all I have to show on quilting. I did start another project and then I quickly got frustrated, so I stopped. And then I made masks. Oh, I could put in a picture of all the masks I made, because I made a bunch of masks. So let's move on to knitting. I'm pretty sure that I showed you the one cowl that I was working on last time. I will try to insert a picture of this. The one I'm working on right now is called the Raina shawl, and I'll try to insert a picture of what it should look like when it's finished right here. But here is what I have done. I'm making good progress. It's really has this really pretty mesh pattern every few rows. I like this kind of knitting because it's just enough that I have to kind of pay attention, but not so complicated that I fear I couldn't ever do it. I love this yarn. It's white and a grayish black and burgundy, and it's called I Want to Believe. That's not the right ball band. I'm pretty sure it's called I Want to Believe. I got it from Mint Rain Hand Dyed Yarns, which is in Midland, Michigan. Yes, I Want to Believe. It's a sock yarn, 100% superwash merino, it says. This is her tag that came on it. Cute little owl. So I'm working on that. The other thing I'm working on is a pair of socks. I did successfully make one sock, and then I decided I would buy some fun yarn and try to make socks. I am following the super simple cuff down sock, which is written by designed by Louise Patterson of Wildflower Wool. She is part of the podcast that was now I'm drawing a blank. She's Caroline from Off the Grid Needle Arts' friend, and Caroline and her and drawing a blank again had a podcast, The Fiber Friends. That was the name of the podcast. And I honestly don't know what's happening with the Fiber Friends podcast, because I know that the third member needed to take a step back. Why can't I remember her name? Louise? Caroline? So sorry that I'm forgetting your name. Anyway, she needed to take a step back, so I don't know if Louise and Caroline will be continuing the Fiber Friends podcast or not. But this is the pattern that Caroline uses when she is teaching Ginger Gerald two-stitch knit socks. So this is the yarn I'm using. This was called Neapolitan because, yep, it looks like ice cream. And this is where I am. Here's my cuff, and I have the sock I'm working on. The gusset decreases right now, and I think what I need to do is I need to rewrite her pattern for my brain, because I am starting on 9-inch circulars, then I'm switching to DPNs, and then I'm switching back to 9-inch circulars, and then I'm switching back to DPNs. So I'm using DPNs for my heel to pick up stitches, and then my toes. But I had very clearly marked which section I thought was needle 1, and then when I get to the part where I'm picking up stitches and I do all that, and then it says, now on needle 1 do this, that's not my needle 1. And so I think I just need to rewrite the directions for my brain. So anyway, those are the 2 things I'm working on. And I really want to get this shawl finished because I want to start a new project, and I'm crazy because this may be out of my league, but I want to start this long line cardigan by Joji Locatelli. I will put a picture of the cover page right here. Caroline from Off the Grid Needle Arts had shouted out Lorraine from Elena's Crafts and told us that we should all go watch her because she was great, and Caroline was right. She is great, and she is like into all the crafts, and it's so fun because she's so excited about all of them, and she does such a great job with all of them. I kind of want to know how she has so much time to get so much done. But she recently did one of these long line cardigans, and it looks awesome, and it looks like it's simple enough that I can handle it. So I bought the pattern, and I need to find myself some yarn, and as soon as I have this shawl done, that's going to be my next project. So now on to reading. I have been steadily reading, but haven't necessarily been plowing through the books like you might think I would be, considering that I've been home more. But I thought I would highlight the ones that stuck out to me the most since I last recorded. The first one was called Set the Stars Alight by Amanda Dykes. That was really a good book. I listened to that one on audio and I enjoyed it very much. I also read Carnegie's Maid by Marie Benedict. That was a good one, and I understand that it is purely fictional, but yet you feel like it could be the way things really went down. The Girl Who Came Home by Hazel Gaynor. This is a story of a woman who was a young girl, a young adult on the Titanic when it sank, and she did survive and live a long life, and it's just her story. It was a very good book. I've read other things by Hazel Gaynor and also enjoyed them. I'm not sure if she's considered Christian fiction, but her books are very clean. If it's not Christian fiction, they're still very clean reads. So if that's what you enjoy, those are good options. As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meisner. This is the second or third book I've read by Susan Meisner, and I have loved everything I have read by her. This book actually seemed very timely in the fact that it's a story about the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, or it takes place during that time, and it was just interesting. But it was a very good story. The other book by Susan Meisner that I've read that just sticks in my head, and I read this one several years ago, but it was called The Fall of Marigolds, I think. I'll try to put a picture of that cover in here also. That one is about the Twin Towers and 9/11, and that one I listened to on audio, and I remember literally thinking I was going to have to pull over on the side of the road because I was crying so hard I was going to not be able to drive. But it was just a really good book. I also listened to The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. This was a story about the pack horse librarians in Kentucky. There is a bit of controversy around this book because some people feel that maybe she copied some parts from the Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek, which I have also read. And of the two, I can still tell you more about the Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek than I can The Giver of Stars, but both were very good. They were both very good books. And I don't know, maybe I just like the other one better because I read it first. But this Giver of Stars was a good book by Jojo Moyes. I also read 2 books, and I actually probably listened to both of them, by Julia Kelly. The first one was called The Whispers of War, and the second one was called The Light Over London, and I believe they were both World War II. I was on a kick there for a month or two where I seemed to be reading and listening to a lot of stories that were set in World War II, and I actually enjoy those, especially if they're not necessarily war stories, but stories about the people who are living through the war, and those were both very good. I'm currently listening to a book that someone on Instagram, and I think it was Cindy McStitcher, had posted and said was really good. It's called The Other Bennett Sister, and I cannot remember who the author is, but I will put a picture of the cover here. It starts out basically as a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, but it's told from Mary's perspective, and the whole story is basically Mary's story, and it is excellent. So far, I don't even know how much longer I have to go, but it is so far has been an excellent book, and so that one is very good. If you are a Pride and Prejudice fan, I think you would enjoy that one. So quick, just what's been going on. Obviously, like everyone else, the world here fell apart along about March 13th. Our governor closed down schools, and then about 2 days later, it was decided that the library I work for was going to close. So I was home completely from March through June for about 3 months, till about the middle of June. And then the governor finally eased the restrictions a bit so that libraries could open. The library I work for, our building is not open to the public. And I was just saying to someone yesterday, I would be very interested to see some statistics on how many libraries in the state of Michigan are currently open to the public versus only offering curbside delivery. We are offering curbside delivery 5 days a week, and then we just recently increased our hours a little bit so that we are also offering some hours on Saturdays. We are, as a staff, talking about how we might be able to offer some computer access, perhaps by appointment. And I think in our meeting tomorrow, I am also going to raise the question of how we might be able to offer fax service to some people. We are trying to do everything as safely as we can. We have patrons who are irritated that we're not open. We have patrons who are super understanding and are just happy that they can pull into our parking lot and pick up their books. We have kind of, it's not really a problem, but the town to the south of us has opened their library completely to the public with limited access still. I mean, they can only have so many people in their building at a time per the governor's orders. The town directly to the north has also opened their library, same thing. And then I think the one to the northwest has also. And so some of our patrons say to us, well, we don't understand why you're not open when, these other libraries are open. And we have to just kindly point out to them that those libraries are in different counties and they are not in a college town. And sadly, none of us are overly surprised that in the last week or two, since the Central Michigan University students have returned to town, the cases in Mount Pleasant have, like in a 2-week span, they're up over 100. And there was a great big huge party in town where they're guessing many of them were exposed, and the incubation period hasn't even passed since that happened. So some of us feel like there's a good chance those numbers could skyrocket yet again. So, it's an unprecedented time. And even though, like, I read the book about the Spanish flu epidemic, that was purely a fictional story, I would like to go back and do some more research on that pandemic. And I realized that that's a totally different thing. We know way more about science now. So it's not apples to apples, but I feel like it might give some idea as to, I don't know. All I know is that we just all need to do what we gotta do. Wear your mask, try to keep your distance, do what you can do to stay safe. My husband's family was directly affected by this. 3 of his family members landed in the hospital because of it. 2 of them only had a couple weeks stay and then were fine. One of his uncles spent 75 days in the hospital. And he's home now, but it's still pretty slow going as far as recovery. I did take my child, my oldest son, back to college on Thursday. And I will tell you that it was almost more emotional driving away, leaving him there this year than it was the last 2, especially even the first year, because the first year we weren't in the middle of a global pandemic. I do think that my child has a good head on his shoulders, and I think that he will wear his mask and he will do a pretty decent job of trying to stay safe. But it's still a little worrisome as a mom. My youngest son is a senior in high school this year, and I got to get this wrapped up because he's going to be home in like half an hour. He's got an easy peasy schedule right now. Our school offered online or in person, and we did not, we knew he was only going to have 3 classes plus a college class that he was already signed up for, and the college class was online. Well, then it ended up, I think that the college class is actually counting also for the math credit we thought he was going to have to take. And so he was going to have band and English, and for whatever reason the counselor at the school stuck him in an online English class, so he really only has to go to the school to participate in band and then come home. And so he has a pretty nice schedule, although he is taking 2 college classes, because then we ended up signing him up for another college class, dual enrollment. And so he's been doing a lot of that and getting a little bit of oh, well, this isn't necessarily going to be easier than high school, or because I'm home, it's still a lot of work. But he's doing a good job with that. My husband, as many of you know, is a junior high school band director, and at this point he's been told he is not allowed to have the students play their instruments inside the building. So on a day like today, that's fine. It's beautiful outside right now. It's actually, in my book, it's about the best it can be. It's probably low to mid 60s. The sun is shining. There's a light breeze. So he can have his kids outside on a day like today, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last. In Michigan, usually about mid-October, it starts to get kind of yucky, and then it gets downright cold, and then it snows, and you can't be outside playing your instrument in the snow, at least not comfortably. So it could prove to be a very interesting school year. So my thoughts and prayers are with anyone who has children and has had to make a decision as to how they're going to get through this school year, whether they're going to do online or homeschool or whatever. Every family had to make that decision for themselves as to what was best for them, and I know it was a difficult decision, and I am so thankful that basically I didn't really have to make much of a decision. But I'm also, my thoughts are with the teachers who are, this is hard. I mean, teaching is hard enough as it is, but then to be all of a sudden thrown into, well, not only do you have to teach this group of children face to face, wearing a mask and making sure that they're all wearing their masks and staying 6 feet apart, you also need to do some online lessons for those kids who chose to stay home. And it's just hard. It's a lot. We're asking a lot of these people. So just be kind to them if you have any reason to have to discuss stuff with them. Many of you know that I had some goals that I was working toward. I was participating in the Map My Run challenge again this year, and so I needed to walk 667 miles. I beat that back in July, and I am well on my way toward hitting 1,000, I think. I have currently walked 864.3 miles this year, so I should not have any trouble getting to 1,000. I'm actually kind of hoping I can get to 1,200. Honestly, pandemic life doesn't really bother me too much. Even though the library is open partially now, I am still only at work 2 days per week because my boss is trying to limit the number of people in the building, even among staff. So I have been assigned Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I actually go into work on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I do a reference shift from here at home on Tuesday afternoons. They forward the library phones to an app on my cell phone. So I literally answer the phone, "Thank you for calling," and I'm sitting here at home in my own house, and we have a reference thing where we can log in and people can ask questions, and I'm logged into that and I can answer questions and I can do stuff that way too. And then I also try to do a little bit of work here and there throughout the week, pull out my laptop and do some stuff if I have things that need to be done that I can do from home. Some parts of my job I can't easily do from home. There are some things that I can do though, so I do try to do some of those. But I do enjoy being home because I walk every day. I drive into town. We have a rail trail system in the next town over. It actually goes through the town to the east and the town to the southeast. And so I drive to one of those two towns and I hop on the trail and I walk usually 4 miles. I've been walking 4 miles almost every day for the last 3 months. And then a couple times a week I usually do a 5 or 6 miler. So I am going to kind of be sad when I have to go back to real life and go to work because I won't be able to do 4 miles a day at that point. Still logging my food and doing really well with that. I seem to just stay in this one little spot. I'm okay with that. I'm on my reading challenge. I think I had set I wanted to read 70 books this year, and right now I'm on track. Again, I don't really know why I didn't read like crazy and craft like crazy while we were on, full lockdown. I did do both things. I just wasn't doing much more than normal. But anyway, it is what it is. I don't mind being home. I know some people that really bothers. They want to be out and about doing things, but I'm pretty happy to just kind of, my house is staying clean, the laundry is staying caught up. I have time to do what I enjoy, and so I kind of enjoy it. If this is what retirement is going to look like, I'm ready. Unfortunately, I still have like 15 more years, so. Anyway, I thought I would just pop in and say hello. I hope everyone's doing well. I do enjoy watching Flosstube, and it's nice to know there are people out there who share my passion for crafting. So I hope everyone is doing well, and see you soon. Bye.